KUGAN CASSIUS IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're en route to Belfast for the second part of the press tour. Is it a press tour?
It is a press tour. We're joined by future Hall of Fame trainer Ben Davison.
Thank you.
And the WBA World Featherweight Champion Lee Wood.
So, a summary of yesterday's events in Nottingham.
It was a lot of fun. Both guys brought the heat. It's nice to see him having a go at Ben Davison rather than me, because normally I get the stick. But a lot of passion means a lot to everybody. You know, for Lee headlining Nottingham, massive fight, massive crowd. For Michael Conlan trying to become a world champion, probably got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's the away fighter, if you like. You know, you saw a little bit of that from him yesterday, and today he's going to enjoy himself in front of his home fans, and I'm sure we'll get a great turnout as well.
Ben, the Conlans were really going for you yesterday.
It's not about me or anything like that. It's about the two fighters, and they say talk is cheap, but it's not cheap because it helps sell the tickets, but it doesn't really have an impact on how the actual fight plays out, and that's the important part for us anyway.
Yeah, what did you make of all the kind of back and forth between Conlan and Ben Davis?
I think it's good. I mean, I would like to have seen Adam Booth at the press conferences, but I know he's got Liam Williams, and you know he's got to stay with camping him. But I think as the build-up goes on, we bring Adam in as well, and it does feel a bit like Frampton Quick, this fight. You know, you've got a lot of dynamics, not just the fighters that are a bit spicy, but you've got two very good trainers. You've got Jamie Conlan, you know, you've got us. It's just a great fight. Great fight. Amazing to be back in Nottingham. You know, Lee's just, as you heard, wants more and more tickets. I think he could have sold out the arena himself. There'll be plenty of Irish there as well. It's going to be a great night. It's a really, really good fight, and a massive night for this young man who sits on the verge of, you know, being in some of the biggest fights in the division. What he's done, turned his life around completely. Always stayed positive about the situation. There were times where I thought Lee Wood should probably hang him up because he just weren't getting the opportunities. Always told me he'd headline the City Ground one day. I thought he was mad. Now he's headlining the arena in front of 9,000, and when he wins on March 12th, he'll go on and fight the City Ground in the summer.
Lee, did you pull them things there? There we go. Yeah, what was your kind of summary of what was happening in Nottingham last night?
It was exciting, wasn't it, yesterday? I think he's a bit, not excited, but he's a bit rowdy. They're trying to convince me something. They don't need to convince me. He's trying to convince himself more than me as well. I think he's not been in this situation yet. He's not been on paper in a 50-50 so this is the first time he's been there, and I think he's reacting different to how he normally reacts. It might be different now we're in Ireland, you know, and he's got his own people to support him. He was on his own apparently yesterday, so, you know, he might have just shown up a bit and not felt comfortable.
Now, 10 years ago, obviously Eddie made a point in the press conference that it was in May where the Froch Boucher fight was. Yeah, bit of a bittersweet night for you. You didn't actually get to get on.
Yeah, it's still a brilliant night though. What a night that was. Eddie says like one of the best nights he's been involved in. The atmosphere was crazy. Froch come out and did a job what not many people thought he would do. Even that whole fight week, like I said yesterday, it was experience for me. Watching Froch at the press conference, the weigh-in, all the things, watching how he deals with the pressure. Froch was one of them people that gets quite nervous, you know, not many people seeing it on camera. I was more backstage and changing room stuff, gets quite nervous. I'm not really that kind of fighter, but to watch how he deals with the pressure of the crowds and the people supporting him and his opponent and stuff, it's good experience and it's going to stand me in good stead for this fight.
10 years ago since you...
Yeah. It's amazing what Lee said, because Froch was a really nervous fighter. You wouldn't think it watching him fight, but he was always looking for reassurance. Like sometimes he'd phone me on fight week, and obviously him and McCracken were like that, but like he'd say to me, what do you think? You know, oh, he's good, this guy, oh, he can punch a bit, oh. And I remember when he fought Groves at Wembley, I went round to his apartment in the afternoon, and it was like that. He wanted reassurance from people. Yeah, he was so tough in the ring. You'd think he needed no reassurance. But that night in Nottingham, I remember him walking out. We was in the corridor, and you could see he was nervous. And I just said to him something like, "Mate, you have to win this fight. You lose this fight, you'll never make another penny in the sport." And his nostrils just flared up, and he was like hyperventilating. He was like, and he went up on the stage, and the fight was called No Easy Way Out, and that was his ring walk music that night. And mate, the whole place, and he was so fired up, and you saw that in the performance. He just would not be denied that night. But with Froch, it's weird because he's so tough and so strong, yet always sort of doubted himself a little bit and needed that reassurance. And I don't know whether that was just sort of subconsciously playing games on himself or whatever he was doing, but I think he's always been like that for his career. But he was such a competitor, so tough. And that night, you think that night there was 500 Romanians there, and you could really hear them. Do you know what I mean? I reckon there'll be 3,000 Irish in Nottingham on March 12th. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely brilliant. And I was actually thinking earlier on this plane about Michael Conlon walking out to his song, and the Irish singing. Then I thought about Lee standing there looking around the arena. This is not him in a 6-rounder co-main event. This is his card in Nottingham, and he's got to soak that up, and he's got to let that feeling and that emotion lift him and lift his performance, because he's going to need a really good performance to beat Michael Conlon. He's a very good fighter, but in his hometown, you've got to use that energy like Carl Froch did that night against Lucien Boutte. If that fight wasn't in Nottingham, he wouldn't have won that fight. He wouldn't have had the same. He just went out that night and said, "This is my night in Nottingham. I'm going to do it," and that's what Lee's got to do as well.
Obviously, that was the night that you infamously nearly got Carl Froch disqualified as well, mate.
I look back now, I didn't have a clue what I was doing back then. I mean, it was 10 years ago. I was just all balls, no brains, and literally, I remember the ref crossed his hands, right? I jumped in, and I've picked Carl up. Carl's celebrating, Carl's on the turnbuckle. I've picked him up, I've spun him round, and I've looked at Rob McCracken, and Rob's going, get out, and I've just got out of the ring. Anyway, as I got out the ring, their team were already on the apron. They got in the ring, and then I got back in the ring. And then someone come up to me and went, the IBF rules are that if a fighter's corner team step on the apron, not enter the ring, step on the apron, they can be disqualified. And I'm thinking, fucking, there's going to be an appeal here. And I actually went up to my old man and went, Dad,
better cut this bit out. There still might be.
No, there's not, because I went straight back to the office, backstage, and read the rules. And it's cornermen, licensed cornermen, not nutty promoters. So we're all right. But actually, when you watch it back, and I said to the ref, Eddie Cotton, I think the ref was, I said to him, you crossed your hands. And when I went in there, also, Boutte's cornerman was on the apron as well, so fucking don't worry about it. It's 10 years ago now. So it was embarrassing.
But it was a nice moment that you got away with anyway.
Yeah. That was what, sometimes boxing as a business can deflate you a little bit. It's like when you look back then, I didn't really know too much about the boxing business. It was just all just a dream. Like I was living a dream, but nothing changes. The great nights, the emotion, it's all still there, and you're going to see another one March 12th as we're coming into land. A bit loud for you this plane. You did say earlier it's a bit loud. Could you get a quieter one next time?
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. Just before we land, Lee, what can we expect, or what are you expecting today in Belfast? You've only come two-handed.
I'm expecting all sorts today, I'm expecting a signed pair of gloves to rock up on the desk. I'm expecting chants, I'm expecting slander, I'm going to get everything thrown at me. But I'm going to take it in my stride and smile and laugh. Hopefully they've got a good crack, and we'll just have a laugh with it, we'll see we'll see. I'm prepared for the worst, but expecting the best.
And I think you're going to get a lot of stick up here today.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all part of it. Eddie's going to give me a little bonus on the tickets out, but nah, look, it's all part of it, isn't it? So, like I said, at the end of the day, all that matters is Lee and Michael getting in the ring on the night.
Right, we're about to land, so we'll see what happens in Belfast.
We will.